Hey guys, this is Jerry Brewer of East Bay Hitting Instruction, and today I want to talk about matching in the baseball swing. Now this is something I've kind of touched on here and there, kind of vaguely, and I want to spend some time talking about it in a full video. And basically what I'm talking about is syncing up the upper and lower body in the stride and into the swing. And so when we say syncing those up, we're talking about magnitude, yes, magnitude of the movement, but what we're going to really see is important is the tempo, okay? And think about it, it's similar to like your locomotion. When you walk, your left foot goes forward, your right foot goes forward, and then as you start to jog, you pick up the tempo. Both your upper body kind of have the same pace. It wouldn't make any sense for you to go really fast with your lower body and then just kind of have a normal walking pace with your upper body. And the extreme of this is like skipping. When you skip forward, you kind of pause as you're in the air, and you kind of keep the same tempo with your upper body and lower body. And so, if we learn nothing from Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi's teaching, balance is key, balance is life, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a bunch of clips, and if you get a chance, take a piece of paper and just pause the video and basically, put it over the top half of Michael Brantley here. This is a home run from Friday night. As we kind of just play his swing, if we just look at his lower body, I'm going to slow it down a little bit. What would you say it is? Is he doing a lot with his lower body in his stride? Is his tempo slow, quick? What would you say? I would say he's not doing much with his lower body. It's a pretty simple stride, and he's just a pretty quick tempo. He's not extremely fast. He's not extremely slow. He's just getting there and putting his foot down and getting ready to swing. Sorry. So if you take the piece of paper away, what do we think we're going to see with the upper body? Pretty similar stuff. We're going to see a pretty quick little move, and that's it. And now he's ready to hit. Okay, so he's matched his lower body movement and his stride with his upper body movement. He synced them both in terms of timing, in terms of magnitude, and in terms of tempo. He has got a pretty quick little movement with the front leg, and then that's what he has with the load. And that's all there is to it, really. We'll look at a few other guys. Let's go to Ken Griffey Jr. Again, put a piece of paper over his upper body and just watch what he's doing. Okay? Is there anything that's, big movements or anything? He kind of glides out. He's not as quick. He's kind of taking a longer stride and gliding out there. So what is his upper body doing? Same thing. No huge movements. Just a kind of a gliding motion. It's nice and smooth. Griffey was the smoothest of all time. Just getting the handle, getting the barrel in position. No big mystery here what he's doing. It wouldn't make sense for him to have some kind of humongous barrel tip going towards us in the video, because that wouldn't match what his lower body is doing. His lower body is doing something very simple, very slow tempo, and so that's just what he's doing. It's just a good matching stride. Okay? He has balance in his life. Mr. Miyagi would be very proud. Let's look at somebody else, like a Josh Donaldson. Okay? Just even before we see him take his stride, look at his feet. His anticipation, he's ready to move. He's thinking quickness this entire time. And so, watch his lower body. What's his tempo? His tempo is fast, man. He's ready to move. He's getting that back leg up, and he's getting it down, he's going forward. And so what do we see with his upper body? Same thing. He's got a quick movement here in the gather, and then he's working on getting that barrel up with that elbow right there. He's quick. His tempo of his upper body and his load matches the tempo and magnitude of his lower body. That's just his swing. He doesn't have just a big leg kick just to have it. He has this balance between his upper body and his lower body. It's just really important. We can see another guy very similar to Donaldson with David Ortiz. He's just getting his leg up and getting it back down. He's got a little bit of in towards the catcher, and that's when he's going to do his gather, and then boom. So his tempo is fast. He's balancing these two movements. It's a sync. It's matched, and it works well. It looks good. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's just not something that looks bad. Now let's look at another guy, Chase Utley. See, again, let's just look at his lower half and what he's doing in his stride. Very little and very quick. He's just getting that front knee up and in a little bit and then putting it down. So what would we expect with his upper body? Again, very little. And he's just going to turn the barrel a little bit towards the pitcher and that's it. It wouldn't make sense for him to try to do some humongous barrel tip again towards us because there's just not time. It's just not part of his. He's very quick, but he's so quick that there's be no time for it. It's synced here. There's some matching. Let's look at another guy. All right, so here's Andrew McCutcheon. What do we see? What's his tempo? He's kind of got this slow movement back to his back leg, and he's kind of building up his forward push kind of slowly. He does get a pretty good push, but it's kind of a slow building movement with his lower body, getting into the rear hip, pushing out, not doing a lot with the rear knee, or the lead knee, I should say. There's nothing exotic going on here. So what would we expect with his upper body? Kind of a slow building movement. Well, what do we see? A slow building movement, nothing too exotic, just, again, working the rear elbow up and matching. It wouldn't make sense for him to have some kind of humongous barrel tip late in his stride. He's a slow builder. And so that's just what he does with his upper body. He matches it up. Opposite of this is, say, a Josh Hamilton. See, he's going to come up and kind of balance here a little bit, and then as he strides out, he has a lot of movement with that front knee. He really internally rotates it, keeps it really turned in at the last minute, then opens it up. And so what do we see with the upper body? Kind of as he's here, just kind of chilling out. When that front knee goes in, so does the barrel, and he's got kind of a bigger move there. The thing about, again, the tempo. This is very, very quick. He's kind of doing it at the last second, and that's when he's doing his barrel tip. There's matching here, okay? There's matching in magnitude, and there's matching in tempo, and that's really the most important thing. For a guy like Griffey, I'll go back to him. If you have this stride where you're just bringing your foot out, it would not make any sense to have some kind of huge barrel tip at the last second. This is a gliding motion. This is very smooth. And that's what we need to do with the barrel too. And we don't have to do some humongous barrel tip. There's just no reason to. It does not match. It does not sync. It does not give us balance. Okay? So those are the guys I wanted to show you, just kind of to talk about this. Keep this in mind. How can we use this for our swing? Like I've really gotten this kick of work backwards. What is your intent in your swing? Are you a slower guy? Are you gonna just try to build a swing? Or are you super quick? Think about that when you're building your lower body and your upper body parts of your stride. Try to match them up. What is your movement profile? Are you a super lax guy where you're gonna maybe take a longer stride and try to open up more to kind of get your body in tension? Well, maybe you're gonna look at more like a Griffey, a longer stride, or maybe look at a Donaldson where you're really gonna try to open up. Think about how this works for you. And then something I think is really kind of glossed over is how does this match your personality? You have to trust your swing. It's your swing. You own it. Just because someone else does something doesn't mean it's right for you. If you're an easygoing guy, maybe a McCutcheon stride or a Griffey stride makes more sense. If you're a Red Bull kind of guy, maybe a really quick, fast-paced stride or swing like a Donaldson or Ortiz makes sense for you. Just own your swing, own your stride. You're the one in the batter's box. So be accountable. There's guys who have all kinds of tempo. Find your own. That's my last point. Just find your tempo. Concentrate on that tempo. Keep the upper body and lower body synced with kind of the same magnitude, but really the same tempo. I think that is really the key. Okay, guys. So I think I showed you everyone I want to show you. So a lot of guys who have good matching between the upper body and the lower body, and it's something that will help you in your swing. Take care.